politics this afternoon because MPP flagbearer Bawumia is urging party members to forgive and unite after a tough flagbearer contest, warning that internal divisions could hurt their chances in the 2028 general elections. He emphasized the need for healing and reconciliation, says what is left of the healing and uniting is acknowledging where each went too far, telling themselves the truth and still choosing to work together. I have the rest of the story in this report.
Speaking at the party's national Thanksgiving service held in his honor, Dr. Bawumia said while efforts at reconciliation have begun, the process of healing must continue deliberately if the party is to present a united front to the Ghanaian electorate in 2028.
This day, as we celebrate and give thanks together, I want to ask all of us from the bottom of my heart to forgive each other for some of the unpalatable things we may have said against one another during this election cycle. I have been encouraged by the efforts I have seen many of you make to reach out to your brothers and sisters after the election. And though I know the exercise of healing isn't completed yet, I believe we have started well.
The former vice president also called for a return to the core values that shaped the party's identity and stressed that restoring internal cohesion and recommitting to these principles would be critical to rebuilding public trust and strengthening the party's prospects going forward.
I have been encouraged by the efforts I have seen many of you make to reach out to your brothers and sisters after the election. And though I know the exercise of healing isn't completed yet, I believe we have started well, and I commend all patriots for the steps taken so far. I would like to, at this juncture, also thank all church leaders, including all charismatic church leaders, for their support.
Two of his competitors in the flag-bearer race, Dr. Yawose Aduchum and Kwabene Japan, were in attendance and gave a scripture reading, while Brian Champon and Kennedy Japan were noticeably absent.
Well, meanwhile, the spokesperson for Kennedy Japan, Kwesi Kwarteng, has refuted claims that Kennedy Japan intends to break away from the MPP and file as an independent candidate in the 2028 presidential elections after losing the MPP flag-bearer race. He spoke on Joy News Desk.
I'm here as a member of the New Patriotic Party, at the same time speaking for Honorable Kennedy Japan. At no reasonable basis should anybody expect that we are going to have an independent race or going to run an independent race. Right. I get it. You know, a friend of Ken, somebody, Abna just sent me the video. Abna Sasa, he just sent me the video. What is it? I just saw this. Our General Secretary, could you be proud to enter? He also just called me that he sees I'm independent and also wanted to inquire. And I'm sure it's because of publicly, one of his friends who is publicly associated with him, who I've seen is championing a certain base-based agenda. But I want to state emphatically, categorically, without any word of equivocation, that Ken is not running for any independence. Right. You see, Ken is a friend to President Mahama. So if President Mahama today is championing the cause of NDC, will you then suggest that Ken is now NDC or now wants to run on the ticket of NDC? Ken is a friend to Mr. Alan Chamartin. Alan Chamartin is doing, initially was moving for change and subsequently became a political party, UP. I respect his decision. Right. I mean, he's an adult, he's entitled to make any decision. Right. But it will not be proper for anybody to construe that because Ken is a friend to Alan Chamartin, if Alan starts anything, it means it's being sponsored by Ken or other things. Recently, he did a video thanking the delegates and the good people of Ghana. I think that was on the 13th, if I recall. He had the MPP flag hoisted just right beside him. So I don't think any person who even will hoist the MPP flag will make a U-turn and say that I'm going for an independent, run an independent base. I feel that moments like this, even out of respect, we also have to give the man some time to also reflect. He's a human being.
Right.
I mean, no matter how hard he is, he's not a robot. He's not a machine. You cannot go through such a very tense election. I mean, not to mince words, you're accused that is your worst that caused the party's defeat. People that are very close to you, people that you probably have a very deep relationship. Sometimes you even build family who come out and say, oh, you insult two men, is your words that caused party's defeat, or queer report, this. And this is a guy who all his life has devoted almost all his adult life to the service of the MPP. Moments like this, he's a human being. No matter how hard you are, when you get into your own closet, the temptation to break down will also be high. So I feel that this whole speculation, you want to go independent, he's not supporting the party, he did not come for yesterday's program, Thanksgiving, he did not come for Rebecca Kufuor was not there. So are you also suggesting that she's also going to start her own party?
Kufuor is not going to, vie for a position or become a flag bearer.
What about Dr. Brian Champong? He too was out of town. So will you also say that Dr. Brian Champong also is also going to work against the MPP? I feel that even out of respect, moments like this, let's allow people to be and heal. I mean, I am speaking from the human perspective, the human point of view.
Right.
Ken, when he lost the election on Saturday, on Monday, he was at one of his factories, the steel factory, wanted to make sure that he connects the power to Gridco and start production. Yes, that is at that individual and private level, but at the political level too, we also have to be a bit reasonable and considerate to him, that this is a human being, no matter how. It's just like boxers. Boxers, you may see boxers out there in the ring, very strong and kicking, but I'm not sure when they get to their homes, they beat their wives. No. They'll be calm, they will reflect, and they also make decisions.
Prepare for the next fight.
Exactly.
Right.
Kwesi Kwarteng is the spokesperson for Kennedy Japan. Let's get talking and bring in Henry Nana Boakye. He's the national organizer of the opposition NPP. I've also been joined on the telephone lines by Dr. Kwame Asasante, who's a political science lecturer. Gentlemen, grateful for your time this afternoon. I want to begin with you, Henry Nana Boakye. I saw you at the Thanksgiving service yesterday, and of course I was there because I was invited to cover the program as a journalist. But two people who were not at that program were Brian Champong and Kennedy Japan, and questions have started coming up whether they were invited at all. Were they?
Of course, certainly. I mean, they were there. In fact, even the original plan was that they were supposed to be part of the scripture readers. That is why you saw Honorable Yawaduchum being part of the readers, and also Engineer Kwabena Japan also part. The fact is that we invited them, but genuinely, they had scheduled itinerary outside the country, and they spoke to us and they pleaded that they will be part of all future events. Do not forget that one of the most important events we had at the party headquarters was the day the results were declared, and how all of them, four of them, mounted the stage, and they all pledged their support, unflinching support to the party and also to the presidential candidate. So I do not think that yesterday's absence would cause any problems. I mean, I don't think that this is even a matter. For me, I think that it's just people trying to twist and turn matters. But in fact, for His Excellency Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, he already had an official trip outside, and he was going to be back this week. I mean, so it's all part of this event, and we wanted to have it done because we've had the election 31st January, and then it was important that we organize this thank you service so that we put the party together. And for me, so far, so good. All four aspirants, they've shown impeccable commitment. They've displayed their loyalty to the party, and I do not think that the absence from yesterday, especially when we had invited them and then they genuinely mentioned to us that they'll be outside the country. I do not think that this is even an issue for discussion.
Henry, we'll continue with the conversation about the Thanksgiving service, but I understand you just stepped out of a national executive meeting. What have you been discussing?
Oh, it's a national steering committee meeting. You know, we already have we've called for a national executive meeting tomorrow, and usually it is part of how we streamline our meetings. There should be, the national steering committee is responsible for day-to-day management of the party. So whatever we ought to discuss at the national executive committee and national council level, we should have, deliberated on all of these issues, discuss them extensively, consider all corners, and then we put it before the bigger bodies. And that is the national executive committee and then the national council. Do not forget that after we've conducted a very successful, the most peaceful presidential primaries we've seen ever in this country, there's a need for us to start the reorganization and restructuring of the party. And that also calls for some discussion and some decisions to be made at the national level, so the national executive and the national council level. So those are matters that we'll be discussing. But we are happy that yesterday's event went very well. Let me commend the entire planning committee. Yes, I led the team, but it was a teamwork. They did so well. I mean, the commitment, the dedication that we put into this thank you service, and it went on without blemish. And I can say that this is a huge milestone, especially after it was a major event after the presidential primaries, and yesterday's event was quite phenomenal. So kudos to the entire planning committee. We worked as a team. We delivered.
Henry, earlier you mentioned that Dr. Brian Champon and Kennedy Japan were both outside Ghana, but when his spokesperson, Kwesi Kwarteng, spoke to us, Kennedy Japan's spokesperson, he said he was in Ghana, but he was really engaged. So I'm trying to understand whether there's some miscommunication as to his unavailability.
Oh, no, that is the communication we had from the committee had for Honorable Kennedy Japan's office. So I do not know about that. I've not spoken to my brother, Kwesi Kwarteng, but I can tell that is the information and the communication
right.
we had.
Henry, don't go yet. Let me bring in Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante in at this point. He's a political science lecturer. Dr. Asah-Asante, grateful for your time this afternoon. What signal does the absence of the two other leading contenders, apart from the eventual flag bearer, Kennedy Japan and Brian Champon, at the National Thanksgiving service, say about the party?
Well, it doesn't mean anything. They give genuine reasons why they will not be there. So this thing can happen to anybody, that I may be billed for a program, but unfortunately, due to one or two circumstances, I will not be able to show up. Doesn't mean that I am against the cause that we are pursuing. No. And I heard Mr. Kwarteng saying emphatically that, there was a reason why they could not. We take it like that and move on. But for me, there is nothing negative about it. Yes. And I've been seeing something flying in the social media and all that. I'm not a spokesman for Ken, but when I saw it, I realized that this is a cock and bull story, that Kennedy Japan going to form an independent, be an independent party member and all that. These are people who are true blue party people, and they will not go out. If there's something, they'll voice their, people will hear their voices and all that. So for me, we can't make any fuss about this, and let's move on.
Why then do you think a lot of people are making a fuss about this if you say it doesn't mean anything?
Oh, it's simply because in politics, the way you can handle information, manipulate information, can, help you to achieve the purpose for which you threw that information out. And the people have lost, and they have lost gallantly as real Democrats and competitors. They will move on with their life, but quitting the party or because of that there is a program that the party is organizing, they say they won't attend. No, that would be too, they are above that, and they wouldn't do that. So let us not glorify that at all. It doesn't have any place in the conversation.
Right. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia also admitted that there were utterances during the campaign season that didn't augur well with most of the candidates, and said that they should forgive one another. Clearly, he wants reconciliation if the party is to move forward. Good move at the right time?
Good move. He has no choice than to speak the way he did. Because, you see, I have a disappointment. My disappointment was that ethics committee that was formed. It became a white elephant. They should have, whipped the people into line so that they will be measured and tempered with their language. We didn't get that. So you saw at a point in time, the campaign became acrimonious, toxic, and, character assassination, characterized it, and the rest of them. But all have been said. Yes, the leader won reconciliation, that people should forgive. Yeah, that's the way to go. But as to whether people can forget some of these things is a problem. More so when you are looking forward to competing with another dominant political party, the NDC. All right, because some of the things they said against Dr. Bawumia obviously will become raw materials for campaign 2028. There's no doubt about that. But this is a time for them to be able to put their acts together and then look at all that have been said against Bawumia and see how they can marshal forces to provide answers when the time comes. But the move, a good move, but what has been said has been said. You can't take those words back.
Right. I'll bring you back in, Dr. Asah-Asante, but let me go to Henry Nana-Boakye. Henry, the ethics committee that was set up by your party to look at utterances that are bad during the campaign season. I remember speaking to the chairman of your National Election Committee, the former deputy minister, the former deputy speaker of parliament, Joe Wise. He said that no reports had been brought to them. That was some months back. So did that committee exist without receiving a single report of insinuations and insults? Unfortunately, we've lost Henry Nana-Boakye there. And as I mentioned to you earlier, he excused himself from an executive meeting at the party's national headquarters here in Accra. I still have Dr. Asah-Asante there. Dr. Asah-Asante, going forward, how does the party reconcile? Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, like I mentioned earlier, preached about unity for about 8 minutes. He talked about unity, unity, unity. Going forward, how does he try or lead the reconciliation process, especially looking at the backbiting, the bickering that went on during these primaries?
Gun is the right thing to do, but he has to do more and demonstrating to the people that it's just not mere talk, but that they are prepared to come together and then put in a machinery. They have the ADR mechanism in the system. You should trigger that process and make sure that the leaders can sit on the table, talk about some of these things, and that they themselves will also talk to their supporters and realize that, and then know that they are working within one family. It is the elephant family, and that what has gone wrong has gone wrong, but they don't need to repeat that and move on. More so, it is important for him to do that and then make sure that people are not, they don't call people names and attack people and all that. That is very, very important, because then you'll be adding salt to injury, and that will not augur well for the party. And the party machinery must, begin to act positively, making sure that everybody is brought on board and that they forge together and then get themselves battle ready for 2028.
Dr. Kwame Asah-Asante, thank you very much. He's a political science lecturer. And earlier we also had Henry Nana-Boakye, who's the national organizer of the opposition NPP. You're still watching The Pulse on Joy News. When we return from the break, we have more stories for you. Don't go anywhere.